everybody, welcome back to The Hobby Musician. Now today, I've got to admit to everybody, I kind of messed up. I had a whole plan for what I was going to shoot during this video, and I had all of my materials set up. I was going to grab everything, and I needed to set up outside to film the step that I was going to do. So I picked up all the stuff. I was trying to do it in one trip. I had things in both hands under my arms, and I picked up the neck, this neck that I'm working on, and I stuck it underneath my left armpit like this. As I was walking out, I leaned forward to push open the door with my right shoulder, and I didn't see it happen, but the neck slid right out of my armpit, and as I saw it, it sort of happened in slow motion. It somersaulted over and slammed onto the ground. I have a little concrete step right outside the back door, and when it slammed onto the ground, right here in this first kind of fret and a half, and I'll put a close-up picture here, the gravel dinged up and chewed up the side of the fretboard here, so I now have to repair it. So after I calmed down, I rethought my strategy for this, and I wanted to think about showing you some really simple tips that if you happen to experience cosmetic damage that could occur at any point. We're assembling this kit right now during this kind of sub-series that we're partnering with Pango Music. And if you want to do assemblies yourself, they've made a special channel-specific link for us that I've got down below. And you can click into that, you can browse their projects, all the instruments they offer. And if you find something you like, you can also use one of our remaining limited time discount codes, Jeremy10, all one word, at checkout. And you can pick up yourself a kit for an extra 10% off. Now, whether you're building a kit or not, sometimes if you're just setting up for a gig and all your instruments are on stage and the sound person comes over and knocks it over, cosmetic damage can occur. Nicks, scratches, that kind of thing. And it can be very simple to repair it yourself. Now, I'm not talking about major structural damage, like if your guitar falls over on stage and something like a big crack appears in the headstock and you're in danger of like losing tension and the strings will pull it over. That's not what I'm talking about. But minor chips, minor cracks that are cosmetic, there is a very simple technique that we're going to use today. Now, one of the products that I've found very helpful with this kind of stuff is actually designed and marketed to a completely different subset of creators. We're going to be using some UV activated resin. This is often found in people who do lots of craft things, making jewelry, those cool like resin decorations. But the fact that it is formulated to be a sort of syrupy texture, a syrupy kind of, I guess, viscosity, makes it incredibly easy to control. So it doesn't pour out like water, which means you can really kind of take your time and get it to go exactly where you want. And the fact that they've formulated it to be activated by UV light means you can be working inside like we're doing today. I can get just a little black light flashlight and cure it in place when I'm done with it, or you can apply everything, take it out in the sunlight for 2 minutes, and it will harden up for you there. Now, there are certainly lots of companies that make this stuff, different brand names and everything, and any of them will work. But if you want to get like directly to these products that we're using today, just like all of our videos, I've got a whole list of Amazon affiliate links down below with these exact products. Well, to get started on this, I do want to switch the camera up and I want to get a close-up for you. I want you to see a lot closer how I apply it and really how simple it can be to essentially just go back and refill those chips that the gravel kind of took out of the wood, and then we're going to sand them back and it's going to be back to a pristine surface for us to continue on with assembling this kit. So give me just a sec and I'm going to switch up the camera. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, we're set up here and ready to go. And just as a quick reminder, we're only looking at some of these gnarly kind of chipped out areas that are right here, just in about that first fret. It's up here kind of where the nut kind of connects to the fretboard, and then in that first fret and a half. So as I was saying just a minute ago, this is as easy as just applying this resin and kind of very carefully letting it come out and just dipping it so that a little droplet will fill or touch and kind of sink down into those steps. So you can see here, it's just a matter, I'm going to tip it over on its side and I'm going to start down here and kind of work my way back. And I got to find, yeah, about here is where the kind of the damage kind of stops. So I'm just going to let this very kind of gently start coming out. And as I said, it's kind of thick. It's more like a syrup. So you can kind of take your time, and I'm just watching and sort of feeling in my hands the weight of it as it sort of like moves to the nozzle. And you can see here, okay, there it is. They're starting to come out, and a little bubble comes out. And I just let a little drip and sort of touch it to the fretboard, because I can let gravity do kind of the hard work for me. You can see right there, if I just kind of keep it level like this, the liquid is going to find its way kind of down to the bottom of that void. And then I'm just looking, and I can see, you know, with how the level is on top, it's actually level with the rest of the fretboard. And I'm just moving down all of the places where there's a little bit of that damage. And then sometimes I'll also like just use the tip, this little applicator, to press around and move around the liquid if I need to get some of it to flow somewhere else. Now the main part of the damage, the biggest voids, are right up here around this, the nut itself. So I'm gonna just take my time to make sure that I get enough of this into those crevices, and then watch to make sure that I can see the level of it is sort of smoothing out, like the level, you know, level of a pond, like a little tiny pond, just to make sure that it's not still, you know, underneath the level. And I'm looking up here, and I'm kind of checking it out from different angles. I'm using the light, and it looks like I've got enough liquid, or maybe a little bit more right here. I see a little area just here. And once I get this, yeah, just a little bit more there. There's a little bubble, and you can try to, like I said, I use the tip to kind of pop the bubbles. Once that gets where I like it, now I can just come here to this black light, turn this on, and just, you know, slowly I kind of like shine it on these different areas, kind of a little bit now. I try to like do maybe like 10, 15 seconds initially, which will kind of set it, start to set it. And then once I kind of feel like it's starting to set, and I don't worry about like maybe tipping. So what I mean now is I can sort of tip this and not worry about it flowing away anymore. But this is it. I'm just going to hold this on here for about, you know, 30 seconds, a minute for each of the spots. And then that's all it takes. It's going to fully set, fully cure, and I can come back with some sandpaper and just lightly, gently sand it off back to original level of where it was, as if the damage never happened. So to save you from watching me to cure all of this, I'm going to go ahead and cut now, and then we'll come back and finish out the video and see how this all turned out. So, all right, I'll see you back in a sec. All right, well, there you have it. That is as easy as it is to apply and to cure the resin. Now, the only thing that I did just in between kind of switching the camera back to this angle is I came back with a couple different grits of sandpaper and kind of a pink old school rubber eraser. Now, the reason for this is I've always found it really helpful to use kind of eraser, and you can wrap your sandpaper around the eraser and use this as a relatively flat but slightly pliable sanding block. And it's great for when you're kind of working around edges or curves, or even just, you know, big flat surfaces. But I kind of went up progressively through the grits. In order to get this back to a smooth kind of surface for us, I just started with like a 220 grit, and then I went up to about a 320, 400. And then I always find when I'm working with this resin stuff, if I finish with 800 grit, that is usually enough for me to get that product back to a nice, good shine. Like it's smooth and it kind of blends in with whatever surface you're on there. So that's really all I did. And I know it's way too far away to see right now, but I'll go ahead and put up another close-up. But that's all it takes. We are back to a perfectly flat, smooth edge of the fretboard, ready for me to now go and do the original idea that I had for this video. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell so you can see when we post that next step. So as always, I hope you got something out of today's video. And until next time, play on, my friends, play on.